Let's start with where we were. Secretary Noem, when you walked into DHS, what was the state of operational control at the southern border that you inherited?
There was no operational control. In fact, our Border Patrol agents and federal officers were being forced to help facilitate the invasion of dangerous criminals and aliens into our country.
Were daily encounters at or near historic highs?
Yes, they absolutely were at historic highs. That's the worst we've ever seen.
Between 2021 and 2024, the Biden administration released more than 13 million illegal aliens into this country after encountering them at the southern border. Is that correct?
Yes, that we know of. There could be millions more.
DHS data reflects during this period of mass releases into the interior, crimes committed by foreign nationals included at least 15,000 homicides and more than 20,000 sexual assaults. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I will say, these numbers are not abstractions. And I will say to all the angel families here, thank you for being here. Thank you for holding the photographs of your children, of your spouses, of your parents, of your brothers and sisters who should be with you. Names like Jocelyn Nungary and Laken Riley and Rachel Marin. Jocelyn, just 12 years old, was killed just miles from my house. Raped and murdered by two Venezuelan gang members that the United States government had apprehended and then released.
The hearing room turned tense as Ted Cruz confronted Kristi Noem with explosive questions about border security, crime, terrorism, and the future of the Department of Homeland Security. What began as a routine oversight hearing quickly transformed into a fiery political showdown, filled with emotional testimony, shocking statistics, and direct accusations against the previous administration. Cruz praised DHS officers as America's sentinels, protecting the nation from threats many citizens never even see. Meanwhile, Noem described a border system she claimed was completely out of control before the current administration took office. The hearing intensified as both officials linked illegal immigration, fentanyl trafficking, violent crime, and national security threats together in one dramatic exchange. In the end, Senator Ted Cruz delivered a forceful and emotionally charged defense of border security, law enforcement, and national safety that clearly resonated throughout the hearing room. He consistently pushed for accountability while giving a voice to families who believe their loved ones were failed by weak immigration policies and political inaction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary.
Yes, hi, Senator.
Congratulations on a grueling morning. I am the last thing between you and returning to work. Let me start by saying thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for accepting the charge to protect this nation at a time of enormous peril and at a time, sadly, of far too much politicization and demonization of the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security was founded in the wake of the September 11th attacks, after nearly 3,000 Americans were murdered on our soil. It exists because we learned at terrible cost that vigilance is not optional. And the success of vigilance is quiet and often ignored. It is measured not in headlines, but the absence of them. The flights that land safely. The plots that never materialize. The threats that are intercepted before they reach our communities. Like sentinels standing watch at the walls of a city, the men and women of DHS guard the homeland day and night with extraordinary dedication and professionalism. And yet, over the past 18 days, Democrats have shut down the very department tasked with that mission, weaponizing the budget process to advance political disagreements. The same voices that once called to abolish ICE and defund the police have now left the sentinels unsupported and the watchtower dark. That is what the Democrat shutdown has done. Let's get to the truth. For the American people, this oversight hearing is about three things: where we were, what has been accomplished, and where we need to go next. Let's start with where we were. Secretary Noem, when you walked into DHS, what was the state of operational control at the southern border that you inherited?
There was no operational control. In fact, our Border Patrol agents and federal officers were being forced to help facilitate the invasion of dangerous criminals and aliens into our country.
Were daily encounters at or near historic highs?
Yes, they absolutely were at historic highs. That's the worst we've ever seen.
Between 2021 and 2024, the Biden administration released more than 13 million illegal aliens into this country after encountering them at the southern border. Is that correct?
Yes, that we know of. There could be millions more.
DHS data reflects during this period of mass releases into the interior, crimes committed by foreign nationals included at least 15,000 homicides and more than 20,000 sexual assaults. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I will say, these numbers are not abstractions. And I will say to all the Angel families here, thank you for being here. Thank you for holding the photographs of your children, of your spouses, of your parents, of your brothers and sisters who should be with you. Names like Jocelyn Nungary and Laken Riley and Rachel Marin. Jocelyn, just 12 years old, was killed just miles from my house. Raped and murdered by two Venezuelan gang members that the United States government had apprehended and then released. And when they were released, they traveled to Houston, Texas, and they kidnapped a 12-year-old girl and raped and murdered her. In your time at DHS, has anyone in the leadership of the previous administration explained why the hell they let so many violent criminals free in our country?
No, they haven't. In fact, under the Biden administration and Mayorkas's leadership, they closed the victim's office at ICE, the Voices office that would help families that suffered a loss like Jocelyn's family and Laken's family and Rachel's family. They had no resources, no way to track court appearances or to get counseling services, no support whatsoever. They purposely closed that down to punish these families even more.
So it wasn't just murderers and rapists that were being released in this country. The open border under the Democrats also became a pipeline for poison, killing our children. Secretary Noem, when you took office, is it correct that fentanyl was the leading cause of death for Americans between the age of 18 and 45?
That's correct.
Was the volume of fentanyl crossing our southern border at or near record levels?
Yes, it was.
And would you agree that when operational control collapses, cartels exploit that chaos?
They exploit it and they become enriched from it.
So now let's talk about what has been accomplished under President Trump's leadership. Under President Trump's leadership, we have had 0 illegal aliens released for 10 straight months. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In President Trump's first year back in office, how many illegal aliens have left the United States?
2.5 million have left voluntarily, and we have arrested, detained, and removed close to 700,000 now.
And how many known or suspected terrorists have been removed?
We have over 1,500 now today that have been apprehended and are being brought to justice.
In the first 100 days of the second Trump administration, is it correct that daily border encounters decreased by approximately 93%?
Yes, that is correct.
That encounters with gotaways, those who are escaping apprehension, decreased by roughly 95%.
That is correct.
And that illegal crossings overall fell by 99%.
That is correct.
And how much in illegal drugs are we interdicting at the border?
Well, fentanyl has dropped by 56% in just the last year, from 2024, where there was historic highs coming into the country, to historic lows in 2025 under President Trump's leadership.
And I would note that securing the border, targeting narco-terrorists, arresting and prosecuting Nicolas Maduro, all of those have had extraordinary effects. Is it correct that nationwide the murder rate has decreased 20% in the last year?
It has. It's at a historic low. In the last 125 years, we are at the lowest murder rate that our country's experienced.
Cruz framed the debate not as a partisan fight, but as a matter of protecting American citizens from crime, terrorism, and the devastating impact of fentanyl trafficking. His arguments connected rising security concerns with the need for stronger enforcement, stricter vetting, and unwavering support for Border Patrol and ICE agents working on the front lines every day. Throughout the hearing, he remained focused on the victims, the officers serving the country, and the broader issue of public safety, which gave his message emotional weight and urgency. Supporters will likely see this hearing as one of Cruz's strongest performances on Homeland Security, especially as he challenged media narratives and defended the work being done at the border. By the end of the exchange, Cruz positioned himself as a leading voice for tougher immigration enforcement and stronger national defense during a time of growing uncertainty. Whether viewers agreed with every point or not, the hearing made one thing very clear: Ted Cruz was determined to make border security and the safety of American families the center of the national conversation.